Set during the chaos of the early 90s, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 delivers a gripping tale of betrayal, espionage, and high-stakes covert operations. Players navigate through sprawling missions filled with moral choices, surreal hallucinations, and shocking plot twists, all while trying to uncover a deadly conspiracy that threatens global stability. Packed with open-ended gameplay, stealth mechanics, and haunting cliffhangers, the campaign merges nostalgia and innovation, keeping players on edge. I'm Taylor, this is my best friend Riley, and today we're going to be diving into all that the Black Ops 6 campaign has to offer in today's Bumpkinbros podcast. Let's get into it. So with any good COD campaign, it really does depend on how good the Call of Duty itself is and how good it seems to hold up with the community and everything around it and how you personally feel about that game. And I don't know about you, but I don't think it's just that honeymoon fever that I'm feeling with BO6. Like it's a genuinely solid game and I'm genuinely having a good time with it.
Me too, man. So I think they took a lot of the Cold War. They pretty much took what they had with Cold War, which I already think is like one of my favorite Call of Duties in years. It's up there for sure for me. I'm not sure about all-time favorite, but it's the one that I seem to just go to the most as of just recently. I always just go to either Cold War. Since I got Black Ops 6, it's Black Ops 6 now. But like before, I was always just Cold War. But yeah, Black Ops 6 I think does have a possibility of becoming like one of the best Call of Duties we've had in a long time, just strictly because, well, the campaign's amazing, which we're dedicating a whole video to it, podcast today, and I just think like every mission's fantastic in it. I've had a great time with the zombies. We still need to see the DLCs, like they haven't come out yet, so we'll have to see with that. And the multiplayer's been fun too. So honestly, all aspects of the game are great. So.
And I completely agree with you on that point. I mean, as a complete package, BO6 has definitely been there. I mean, multiplayer is a load of fun. You can hop on, have a good time. I mean, it's a classic Call of Duty multiplayer. I mean, you got the Pick 12 system back again, and with Create a Class and just an easy to hop on, good time experience. And I mean, when it comes to everything going on with the zombies mode, I mean, they've really knocked it out of the park. I mean, they've had 4 years to develop this game, so they've had the time to really put into it. So if they didn't knock it out of the park, then I mean, that would have really been really disappointing for us all. But when it comes to the campaign, I mean, for story-wise, I know that it builds a lot off of what they've set up in Cold War, and that's kind of how this whole game has been, is like building off of the fundamental mechanics that they built upon in Cold War, refining it, seeing what makes it, what works, what doesn't work, making it better, and then on top of that, adding that omni movement and all that stuff really adds a lot of good flow to the game. And I mean, once you learn to master it, it can be a lot of fun. So. But without further ado, I think it's time to head on into the first couple of missions and start doing a deep dive on this campaign story.
So I kind of want to set the stage a little bit if you don't mind. So rough summary of the game. The game is set in 1991, 10 years after Cold War. The guy we play as is William Case Cauldron, which is a pretty interesting name, if I do say so myself. It sounds maybe fake. I don't know. That's just my guess, kind of. But anyway, so after you, Frank Woods, and Troy Marshall, you all get suspended from the CIA by Daniel Livingston. So you meet up with Russell Adler, which we all know from Cold War, who's been doing research on a group called the Pantheon, and that's the main group that they've infiltrated the CIA. So it seems there's a mole in the CIA, and the Pantheon is the main group we're going after, and it's because they have a bioweapon called the Cradle. And that's like the main
Cradle, baby.
And the silver spoon. You know how we do. All right, so yeah, and that pretty much sets the stage. I'm gonna, real quickly before we go into the missions, I'm also gonna tell each main character, not every single character in the game, but like out of the main group.
Yeah, give us a synopsis of each of the characters that we got to keep an eye on throughout the campaign.
Gotcha. Okay, so our main group that we stay with throughout the whole game is, I forget if we have a name or something, but the main group is Russell Adler, which we all know from the last game. Savati Dumas, she's new, I think. I don't think she was in the last game. She's kind of like the gunslinger chick of the group. She's the only girl. Felix Newman, he's kind of like the nerd. He's the tech guy, and he cooks food. Pretty interesting guy. Frank Woods, first game that he's in the wheelchair the whole game, so he's kind of suspended to the safe house. He's still a very valuable guy, of course. But it's weird seeing him like that. He's always like the guy that's in fights and going crazy. It's sad to see my boy stuck in a wheelchair like that. But and then another newcomer, the guy on the face, the face of Black Ops 6, if you want to say, because he's on the cover of it, Troy Marshall. And then the main villain is Jane Harrow, which I'll talk a little bit more about her in the first mission, because I forgot, but she's actually in the first mission.
Gotcha. So that kind of sets the stage of all the characters and that sort of stuff, and our main villain, and that is what?
My bad. I guess I'll also mention Daniel Livingston, because he's not a huge character, but he's the CIA. He's like the leader of the CIA, and he's the one that suspends like the 3 people from the CIA, and then we see him again at the end. But I'll just mention him since he got mentioned earlier. So.
Gotcha. But essentially, it does suck that our boy Woods is stuck to the wheelchair the whole game, because I mean, obviously we love having our boy Woods around, but without, I guess, let's hop into that first mission. Mission number 1, Bishop takes the Rook.
All right. Okay, so Bishop takes the Rook. This is the one. I don't know if this is one of my lesser favorite missions in the game, but it kind of probably is, only because like every mission in this game is amazing. So even though this is like one of my least favorite, it's still a great mission. So you're pretty much just you're locating a target named Saeed Alawi. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I probably did.
All good.
But anyways, so you're locating the target. And in this, I believe, if I remember correctly, this mission, it's I think Case, maybe Marshall, and then Jane Harrow, who's good right now. It's a twist later in the game that she's a bad guy, and it didn't even really work for me, because when they tried to do the twist on me, I completely forgot who she was. So I didn't even remember her. But yeah, she's not super like. She doesn't do that much. She's just kind of there in the mission.
She's not very relevant in the beginning, but then they try to make her more important later on, and it kind of fails because you're like, who was that?
Yeah, exactly. And then they have a whole mission dedicated to her, which is actually a pretty cool mission, but it's just like that. And that's where some of the complaints, I think, come in with the abrupt ending that people are talking about. It's just like, feels like, I don't know, they could have fleshed her out a little bit more, I feel like, instead of like trying to do a random twist at the end.
Yeah.
But anyways, the very end of this mission is my favorite part of this mission, probably. When Adler's reintroduced, he just like comes out of nowhere and shoots Alawi after we just got him, after we just like, whatever we were doing, we were locating him. So after we captured him, he just comes out of nowhere and just shoots the dude in the head. And it's like, what the? And then everyone's like, what the hell? And then, yeah, so that's how Adler's reintroduced. And then that's really all I got to say about that mission.
Then does that bring us into Blood Feud with
Yes.
Is this one of your more favorite missions, or is this?
I do love Blood Feud. And before we go into Blood Feud, let me say something real quick. So in between most missions, we have these things called the Rooks, which are like these safe house like interludes. They're kind of counted as missions. There's 18 missions in the game if you count them, and then there's 11 just like story missions, like just that aren't at the safe house. And then so the safe house is kind of like a break in between the combat. In each level you can collect money, and there's 3 different things you can upgrade in your house. I think it's guns, like tech, and then there's one more that I'm blanking on right now, but there's 3 things you can upgrade if you get enough cash. There's also lock boxes and safes in each, I don't know if it's in every level, but in levels of the Call of Duty games. And there's also just cash lying around. I didn't unlock any of the safes, so you can go back and unlock safes and get more upgrades to your safe house and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. In between things, you can talk to each character. They'll say some random stuff. It's kind of cool talking to each person, talking to Woods. If you talk to Woods, he'll talk about like trying to after Mason's death, unfortunately, he dies, which is the canon way. Unfortunately, I don't like that ending. I prefer when he's alive and old, but that's okay. But it's more realistic. But anyways, Woods supposedly takes over taking care of David Mason after Alex died. Alex died. So that's kind of a cool little thing I didn't know about. So
And that kind of makes sense considering,
he felt like he had to pay him back.
Yeah, for going and rescuing him.
Literally in the first mission of VO2, Taylor.
Yeah, which what we were just talking about
we were
before the
talking about
podcast.
Yeah.
I was telling Riley how I just played through the first mission of BO2 right before yesterday while I was getting footage for the podcast that you guys will hopefully have seen the week before this. But it really all just depends on when everything comes out. But overall, it's a good time.
It's an amazing story. And so, yeah. I guess that can lead us into Blood Feud. I just wanted to mention that safe house thing real quick. I don't want to mention it in between every level, but I'll just mention it that real quick.
A mission centered around revenge taking place in an urban combat zone. Ooh.
Yes. So this one, I honestly don't really know what the story to this one is. I just remember just this mission feeling kind of like Hitman. For some reason, I was getting major Hitman vibes. I'm pretty sure there's stealth kills in this one, and then there's also a part where you get to assassinate a target with a sniper. There's different ways of assassinating targets. Kind of feels like you're a contract killer. It's a really fun mission. But yeah, you can read the key moments of discussion points if you want.
What is it? Players witness a critical betrayal and engage in a brutal street level gunfights. Discussion points. The emotional stakes are
The emotional stakes
are in connection to prior Black Ops narratives, and it feels like a Hitman mission. You get to snipe the target on top of the rooftop.
It's badass.
Yeah, that is a pretty badass scene, not gonna lie, when you're crouching on the roof and then you scope in and then he's all the way at the other end of it. I actually know he's just sitting there chilling and then you pop a cap in his ass.
Yeah, dude,
so,
it's badass.
And then the lady's reaction from across from like, oh my god! It's actually honestly, pretty funny. But yeah, I really liked how in Blood Feud it was just it was a much slower paced mission. You could really...
Exactly. Yeah.
And I like how you could decide kind of how you wanted to go about doing it, but it's just a big...
multiple ways you can do it.
Yeah.
So actually, I went to the website real quick, and they didn't really give a synopsis, but the mission in this, you're killing Yannick and killing John Acid. So yeah, this mission is pretty much just killing different targets, which is honestly a fun mission in my book. That's fun for me, so I'll take that any day.
Well, how about number...
Okay, let's go on to next. Yeah, next one is Most Wanted, which this was the first mission in this game where I was like, oh, this one's my favorite. I love this mission. This mission was just so fun. You could tell a lot of thought was put into this mission. So
a fast-paced mission involving the capture of an HVT. So who's the high-value target we're going after? The
high-value target in this case is the Senator. We're trying to secure an audience with the Senator, and there are 3 different options that you can go along with doing this. The one I went with was Covert Affairs Submission.
That's what I was going to say. Did you go with the one where you call out him cheating on his wife?
Oh, yeah, I did do that one. That one was pretty fun, I'm not going to lie. The dude got what he deserved, and then I got my little video clip. But the other 2 that I haven't played yet, but I'm pretty excited too because they seem pretty fun. Highest Bidder Submission and a Mystery Man Submission. The Mystery Man one seems pretty interesting. Highest Bidder seems like it might be what's that called when people are like 50,000.
Bidding. That's
bidding. Yeah. That's literally what it said. That's literally what it said. Yeah. Okay. So my dumbass. Good job, Riley. You figured it out. You cracked the case.
What's the Scooby-Doo?
Jesus Christ. All right. So after that, you rescue Adler. Oh yeah, because you're trying to get that information with the Senator so you can rescue Adler and then you escape to Black Site. But overall, this mission's really fun. There's a bunch of different ways you can tackle to secure the audience with the Senator, and it's just really fun. And I love the setting to this one. Wherever you're at,
you're at a ballroom and that sort of stuff.
Ballroom. Classic.
The Most Wanted mission really gave me 007 vibes. I was playing 007 Nightfire, and that, if you guys have ever played that opening mission when you're going into the big sprawling mansion at night to get an audience and to get interview like with one of these project leaders of like a big missile project. And essentially you have to like, you break in being all stealthy and covert, but then when you get in you have to be all posh and polite and act like a normal person while getting information.
That's really cool.
So it really reminded me of that mission in 007, but for Call of Duty, and I really liked how you could have the different paths to take and everything like that. But Hunting Season is the next mission.
There's another mission that reminds me a lot of 007, but we'll get to that one. Yeah, next one is Hunting Season, which this is a very fun mission as well. I really enjoyed this one. This one, so they kind of took what they did with MW3 and just made it into one level, which is nice because a lot of the complaints with MW3s was that the whole campaign was open world, which isn't Call of Duty like. It doesn't really feel like Call of Duty, which is a fair. I didn't play the campaign, so I can't really comment on it yet. But this one is an open world. It's like an open world level. You're pretty much on a jeep. You're on a jeep you're trying to destroy Scud launchers. And so you're pretty much on a jeep and you get to drive around on this like beach area, and it's pretty fun, honestly. It's really fun. I like open missions, so it's cool that they added like an open world element to Call of Duty, I think.
Yeah, I mean the replayability and its resemblance to sandbox games definitely did stand out as like more of a unique mission approach. I really like how they kind of came to an in-between where it isn't all open world, it isn't all mission based. It's kind of like
if it was all open world, I wouldn't like it, but I think it's cool with one level.
Yeah, with a good happy balance. And then yeah, you're destroying the Scud launchers and many other different little side objectives that you can tackle.
There's SAM sites, enemy camps, helicopter crash. So there's a lot. You don't have to do all of them, so you could always like go back and play it again.
But it just adds more replayability to the mission. So definitely overall a pretty solid pick. I'm not exactly sure what the story reasoning for us being there is, but
let me see if I can. Well, you're trying to destroy Scud launchers, but I'm not sure for what. Oh, you're there to destroy Scud launchers, I guess.
That's it. We're just there. All right, I stand corrected. Our story reason for being there is to destroy those goddamn Scud launchers.
It's a priority.
It's top priority.
There's definitely a story reason why they're there, but I can't. And I don't remember off the top of my head. So.
But mission 5, the Cradle.
Cats in the Cradle in the silver screen. The Cradle is great. It's a very fun bio. Not very fun bio. Very
yes, my very fun bio weapons. Next to mustard gas and Tide Pods, the ultimate bioweapon.
Yeah. All right, so this mission, the Cradle, it's a pretty simple mission. It's not that long. You're pretty much in like an underground. I think you're like in an underground bunker, exploring a bunker, looking for the Cradle, the bioweapon. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this is the first mission where you're introduced to these annoying enemies that throw green gas at you that really like they really slow you down, and this for like it feels like a long time. It's probably only like 10-15 seconds though, but it's very annoying. And I will say, since I'm talking about it, the enemies in this game very diverse. There's a lot of just like normal enemies, and there's very armored enemies that have a lot of armor, and then there's some that have the green gas that throw the green gas at you and stun you. So there's a lot of different variety of baddies in this game.
Yeah, and it keeps you on your toes, so it isn't just the same copy and paste dude over and over again. Because I definitely like, for instance, the Mile High Club mission in Modern Warfare. Is that Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare
that's 1?
Yeah, that's. Anytime I see that mission, anytime I see the soldiers that you're up against, it just feels like a copy and paste of every single character. Copy and paste over and over and over again.
Sometimes it literally is. It literally is like the same like
model and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And not to diss on high rollers, I'm just saying that it's nice that they've evolved and grown and that sort of stuff. I sure hope they would have in the.
Did you say diss on high rollers?
I said didn't want to diss on Mile High Club. I did accidentally say
Oh,
High Rollers. My
I
bad.
was like, high roll. Okay. That makes
I
sense.
looked and I saw High Rollers on my screen.
Gotcha. I was like, that had to be one of my hearing things. Okay.
All good.
Yeah, so that's it's a fun mission. Not one of my all-time favorite missions of even the game, because a lot of them are like more memorable than this, and it's kind of short, but it's still really fun. So like, I have no complaints about it. Except
Yeah.
maybe the green gas dude. But if you're good at it, and if you have a bunch of equipment.
But how about level 6, the Emergence?
Emergence. This one, all-time favorite for sure. I love this mission a lot. This kind of felt like this. Okay, actually, now the more I think about this, this gives me heavy Resident Evil vibes. Just like the puzzle aspect to it, like finding different colored key cards. You're
This
inside
was
like a lab thing. You're inside like a lab thing, which is very Resident Evil. And then there's also undead zombies that you're
yeah,
running
so that's
away
what
from.
made this my
Or mannequin.
particular favorite mission, was because
Which is
essentially
fair.
you're
I knew you would love this mission.
yeah, so you and I like how they tied it in with the rest of it. They didn't just force zombies into the story of the campaign.
Oh
It
no.
was more or less like this dude's tripping on the bio weapon
Yeah,
and making
yeah,
him,
it's really
because
cool.
essentially you're trying to, I'm not sure if you're trying to secure it or trying to figure out where it is or something like that, but you essentially get trapped at the bottom of a facility and your gas mask breaks, so you breathed in some of the gas and it's just making you trip balls.
Balls.
And
Yeah.
like you have like a section with the mannequins where it's like the Doctor Who
That-
with the
yeah.
scream with the weeping angels, and you have the different segments with different zombie bosses like the Mangler,
Different
the
zombie boss.
Abomination.
Yeah.
They have different zombie
Really-
bosses
really
in there
cool.
they haven't even introduced into the zombies mode yet. Like
Yeah,
that
it's
was
really neat cut.
that was a really good mission. It was easily my favorite out of the campaign, just because me being a zombie's head and it being, I love it, but I
Very-
really
yeah,
loved that
zombie
cinematic
or-
scene where you grapple away from the Abomination last second when it's about to take a bite out of your ankles, and then you,
Oh yeah.
dude, it was
Yeah,
that was a
sick.
really good mission. Definitely my favorite,
Amazing
but
mission. High Rollers. I love
Yes.
this mission. This was the other one I was talking about that also feels kind of heavily James Bond influenced to me. This feels very James Bond style. You're all working together as a group in this one. The whole crew, Savati, Woods from the outside, he's not there, but Marshall, Case, just the whole crew, and Felix. You get to play as each person at least one time, and I just love this mission. This so much. It's really well written and thought out, and it feels like a heist, kind of like Ocean's 11 or something, or James Bond. Like I said, like it just feels like a heist, and I just love it. But anyway, so this mission starts as so the first part of the mission, you start as Marshall. You got to require the cards, require the deck of cards from Sev. She has the card that you need to cheat to win later on in poker. And then after that, you sit down at the poker table, and then it switches over to Case, which Case is having to access the casino security system. And then after he does that, he intentionally gets caught by the security guards at the casino. And poor Case gets the brunt of it because he's getting like beat up and interrogated who else he's with. But he isn't talking, which is amazing. Good shit, Case. But after that, you go back to Marshall, and then this is when you play poker and you cheat at poker. And you do this by Savati making a distraction by spilling a drink on the guy you're going against. And you can play your cheat card that she gave you, and you win the, what is it? I believe it's a High Rollers Lounge like card. So you can get inside the High Rollers Lounge. So that's pretty nice. And then after that, you go inside the High Rollers Lounge and you put a scrambler on the slot machine, which makes it go crazy ham and starts shooting out coins everywhere because you need a distraction for Felix because he's playing as the Fix-It guy, Fix-It Felix from Wreck-It Ralph. You guys know what's up. But he's playing the handyman. And so after you do that to the slot machine, and Felix is talking to him, he's distracted, and you steal the manager's card and flip it off to Felix so he can go fix the slot machine, or not really. It's so he can fix the slot machine, but he's really going down there so he can.
Go gambling. He's got to go gambling.
He's
got to
gotta
gamble.
He has to reprogram. No, what is it? Sorry.
That's my.
He has to reprogram the card by using the computer down in the security. So after that, he goes and does that, and you have to do a decryption puzzle, which the decryption puzzles are pretty easy in this game. The puzzles are pretty easy, but they're kind of fun. They're fun too, so it's a good balance. And then after that, you go back to the bar after you reprogram the card. You go back to the bar. You go back to the bar and give it to Sev. And then after that, now you're in the last POV of the mission. You're in Sev's POV, and you have to unlock the elevator for Felix and Marshall. After you do that, you're all together, and you blow up the vault. And yeah, that's what the main thing is. That's I kind of forgot, but that's the whole point of this. You're here because you're trying to blow up the vault. And then after that, you need to protect Felix as he's hacking into the vault, and a bunch of bad guys are coming in trying to shoot you because you're breaking into their vault. No shit, they're gonna be guys. And then finally, it goes back to Case's POV. He does a badass action movie style breakdown where he breaks out of his cuffs and take out the security, and then meets up with the group and they escape the casino. Successful mission. Good job, boys. Sorry, that one took a while. It took the whole time you were gone too.
You're okay. Can I mention something about High Rollers?
Yeah,
I really love the transitions that they do between the characters and how they end up. It's so smooth and it's so fluid that it's like you almost are like, wait, did I just switch characters? Like
sometimes I forgot. I was like, who am I playing as right now? I forget because like they're so smooth with it, dude. Yeah, it's really nice. Really well written. The shots are really cool. It feels like I said, you were gone for the sale, but it feels like Ocean's 11. Like they're really gone. It feels like they're doing like a straight up heist. Like it feels like a heist movie.
Dude, absolutely. But moving on. And so, would you say that's probably your favorite level of the game?
I would probably say it's either that one or it's probably either that one or the zombie.
Level 6.
Level 6. Emergence. Yeah, it's either Emergence or High Rollers probably for me.
But moving on from High Rollers, we have Ground Control, a large-scale assault.
To Major Tom.
Yes. To Major Tom.
Major Tom.
I forgot the words.
Ground Control to Major. That's all I know. All right, go ahead.
But a large-scale assault on an enemy satellite factory features vehicle combat and large-scale battles. Ooh.
This one is pretty fun. I like this one. I don't really know what it's a satellite facility. This one takes place at an airport. You're inside like a terminal, which I really like the setting of this one. This one's a really cool setting. But so in this one, you're trying to get to Gusev's plane. After you reach the first one, you get inside it, you get to search the plane. The plane decor is really cool, and I love the set pieces of the plane and the airport. But after that, you realize it's a decoy and it's not Gusev's plane. So you hop in a tank, like just real casually, just hop in a tank real quick. And
like you do.
Yeah, like you do, And then you just blow down through the airport or whatever, and you get to Gusev's actual plane, and you shoot it down with one bullet from the tank, and then you grab Gusev, and it goes into the classic, like, action movie interrogation. You got him up against, like, the blades of the plane or whatever. It's like, talk, bitch, talk. And then after that, you get your information. You realize Vorkuta is involved. And I forget what mission it is, but at this point, Hero's revealed to be like the main bad guy at some point in one of these missions. And Troy Marshall is super upset about that because I don't know if it was like his idol, but like he worked with her. They were really close friends, at least he thought. So realizing she was the head of the Pantheon and she was like the bad guy really got to him. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I forget what mission it is.
Got friend zoned by the head of the Pantheon.
Exactly, bro. The Pantheon took her. But yeah, so then after that, you interrogate Gusev and realize that Vorkuta is involved somehow. Wait,
Step 1. Ascend from darkness. Step 2, secure the keys. But
that pretty much wraps that up, man. That pretty much wraps up that mission.
Yeah, so level 9, Under the Radar, a stealth mission set in an enemy airbase. Is that
this one is well, I don't know, enemy airbase. no, enemy airbase would have been probably that one's probably talking about ground control because that's the one that takes place.
We might have gotten our notes mixed up a little bit, but it is
Yeah,
a
maybe.
stealth
I'm not
mission though,
100%.
right?
I believe so. Yeah, because you're using a lot of like I forget what they have a name for it. Let me find it real quick. They had a name for the thing.
Surveil 3 areas and then the attack helicopter, satellite dish, and SAM site. Sabotage each one and then capture Harlow.
Yeah. There's a do that. Here we go. Keen Eye. It's introduced in this mission. It's like this option where you can like zoom in and analyze on this like one particular scene or whatever. And so yeah, I believe this one's definitely stealth based. I don't remember this one too much, but I do like the stealth influence, like the stealth like.
So do you remember why, like, the story reason why we're here?
You're sabotaging the radar dish, sabotaging the SAM site, and the attack helicopter. I believe you're looking for Harrow. Yeah, you're here because this is where you think Harrow's gonna be.
Oh, okay.
And at the end, you capture her. You capture her.
Gotcha. And so it's just a pretty straightforward surveil, destroy the 3 sites, and then go and capture her.
And then you capture Harrow. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty straightforward mission. It's nothing like crazy, but this one does stand out for its stealth, for adding that feature, which is pretty cool. But it's not my favorite mission in the game for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
But what about at level 10, separation anxiety?
So for these last 2 missions, they're kind of the way they do it in the game. They're kind of like linked together. So you're playing separation anxiety and checkmate like at the same time.
Gotcha.
So it first starts out with separation anxiety, where so I forget what drug it is, but Adler gets this drug where he injects it into Harrow, and they do this because she won't talk because she's so focused. She's too far deep at this point. She's too far gone. She's not gonna say anything about what her plan is. So they do this so they can hopefully get into the real depths into her brain and like talk to her like her younger self before she was evil or whatever.
Yeah, and figure out the whole cradle situation.
And figure out where the cradle, the bomb or whatever is gonna be used. And so, or like because there's an attack plan that they're trying to stop. So separation anxiety, you're inside. It's like very dream influence. So like stuff is like going away, coming back. You kind of feel like you're in like a galaxy thing. It's really cool set. Set animation. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's really cool setting. So in this one, a mirror breaks. She's like fighting with her bad self, good self versus bad self, and a mirror breaks, and you realize that some shit happened when she was a child, and her parents were CIA, and someone killed her parents. And as the mission goes on, you find these shards of glass, and you put the mirror back together. You got to restore it, and by the end of it, you realize, well, from her recollection, she was like a child when this happened, like 8 or 9 maybe. But and she only heard the voice. She never saw the face. But the voice she thinks she heard was Russell Adler's, who shot and murdered both of her parents, who were part of the CIA. But I don't know if this is ever confirmed. I don't think it is. But it is confirmed that the CIA hired people to kill her parents. That was confirmed. Like it was a job inside the CIA.
Yeah. It's an inside job.
Yeah, an inside job. So, unfortunately, her parents died, and then she originally was going to go into the CIA to help in good, but then some shit happened along the way where she turned bad. And then
that's generally how it goes.
I think it was when she realized that it was the CIA that killed her parents. That was like the breaking point. She was like, oh, so the people I've been working for the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
And then that's when she went over the Pantheon. And so that's happening at the same time Checkmate's happening. At a certain point, it switches to Checkmate. And Checkmate is the rest of the crew. This is inside the safe house. So the rest of the last mission's inside the safe house, and you're being rushed in by a bunch of people from the Pantheon because they found out where Harrow's being held. So you're pretty much holding fort as this interrogation drug thing is happening. Wood's keeping an eye on her while the rest of the team is fighting the waves of enemies. So at a point, Let me think. So at a point, you get enough information where Hero knows where the bomb's gonna be used, and it's gonna happen at DC. And so they call Livingston, who's at DC, and he clears out the White House before anything happens. And I think they stopped the bomb. The bomb didn't go off at all, I believe. So they stopped everything, and it was a mission success. But there was one thing that I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, so the ending. So that's the part I forgot. So the ending, it ends.
You know, the whole thing we've been building towards.
Yeah. I completely forgot about a part where Hero. After it goes back to checkmate, a group gets inside and Hero gets out and escapes. And Woods gets I think hit, but he's okay. He's not dead or anything. But he's on the floor. He's like, oh no, Woods. And then she's gone, and we go after her. Case is after her and finds her. And I believe she's in a plane. Yeah, that's it. She's in a plane. Case is running. And I failed 3 times, dude, because for some reason I just couldn't time it right. But I kept jumping to the plane right when she was taking off. You're supposed to do that, but you're supposed to jump onto the plane and then climb up there or whatever. And I kept failing. It was making me so mad. I was like, what am I doing wrong? But anyways, that's besides the point. And then you have to punch the bad guys from inside the helicopter, climb into the helicopter, and then you and Hero are fighting. She actually shoots the pilot. And she's like, ah, shit. And I'm like, let's go, Hero, you dumbass. And then they all fall down. Dumbass bitch. And then it falls down. It crashes. She's like, look what you did. Look what you did. And then she says something about, don't you remember? This is when she says the shit that makes it feel like they know each other from he's been part of the Pantheon before or something.
Yeah.
So they fight, and then Case, I think, has the upper hand. Something happens where the toxic, he's like, I think, or no, actually I'm not gonna say that because I can't remember that for sure. But it goes to black, and we think Hero's dead because in the following scene they say catastrophe. There was no the cradle was never used, but they don't mention anything about Hero's
whereabouts,
time of death, or where her whereabouts are, or Case's whereabouts. So the ending is just kind of up in the air. Is Hero dead? Is Case dead? Where are they? Because at the end, the whole group is there besides Case, and they regroup with Livingston after he fired them, and he gives them a job, and he's like, we need you guys, we need you. And then Woods is like, isn't the Cold War over? And he's like, yeah, but the world is the worst it's been even before the Cold War, or some shit like that. And so he lets him do whatever he wants. He pretty much is like, he's like, whatever you guys need, you just ask for it, pretty much like one of those things. Whatever gear you need, money, I got you. And then so they're pretty much doing cases with Livingston and the CIA now. And even though Hero's not a problem, oh yeah, he did say that. He said Hero's not a problem anymore. So maybe she is dead, but Hero's not a problem anymore. But the Pantheon is still at risk of something bad happening. So the Pantheon isn't completely taken down. So maybe in the next game, the Pantheon will still be involved somehow. Maybe we'll get more information on Case and if Hero's actually dead. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff up in the air. So it's definitely teasing for a sequel.
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot of people with that final cutscene thought it was Frank Woods for a period of time. That was.
Wait, what final cutscene? Oh yeah, the final cutscene where it showed. Oh crap! What was that final cutscene?
But essentially, people thought that it was Frank Woods that was being shown. Not Frank Woods. It was Mason that was being shown.
David Mason. They thought it was David Mason.
Yeah, they thought it was Mason being shown, being alive or something like that. But I think it's just, I think it might be Case that's alive that they're showing. I can't remember who the conclusion of it was that people ended up coming to. But I know a lot of people were pissed off about that and how abrupt the ending ended up being as well.
What was that final cutscene, Taylor? What was happening? What did it show? Was it just a guy? It was like a guy in the office, and he was going into the computer, and then it showed a face. I looked into this, and somebody, I'm not sure if this is confirmed, but somebody said that there's an operator that looks just like him in multiplayer, and it's not Case nor Mason. I'm not sure. I forget the person's name, But
if you guys
supposedly-
know more information about
let
this,
us
let us
know.
know in the comments below, because clearly
Yeah,
we're
it's
not
really
experts. We're just people trying to enjoy the campaign and,
Yeah, I know.
give a surface level review on how we feel
Exactly.
about it. But that's kind of what it brings us to, is the community feedback of the whole and what everybody's thinking of the campaign and how it holds up. I know that it's getting a lot of praises for its good mechanics, its creative freedom, and its expansion of gameplay elements and those sorts of things, and the way that it really changes the way that Call of Duty campaigns work, and it's not just the same levels over and over and over again, and it really does switch it up each time.
There's
And
like
yes,
the one or two standouts usually. There's like one or two like standouts.
Yeah. And like, for me personally, I totally can see where they're coming from, and I totally get the criticisms about the ending.
Yeah,
and
me
that
too.
sort of
I'm still
stuff.
confused myself.
Yeah, and I'm pretty confused, but I guess that's what they like doing, is they like
Yeah.
confusing us. I mean, look at BO3 for instance. Look at how confusing of a
At least
mess
it
that
wasn't
game.
as confusing as that.
Yeah, that's an absolute nightmare on its own. If you guys want to see our BO3 podcast, I'll link it up there. But
if you want us to do a BO3 breakdown, let us know.
oh my gosh, that would be an absolute nightmare. I mean,
Campaign breakdown. That'd be the
but
best. No, I'm just
we
kidding.
will have
Please don't
to
make us do
cross that bridge when we cross it. But what are you feeling about this campaign overall? How do you feel like it holds up against the rest of the Call of Duty campaigns?
Man, dude. Well, first off, that's Call of Duty campaigns are like just like really
They
well
are
done.
all over the
They're
place.
So they're but like the Prime campaigns, like they were so good. But the BO6 campaign, oh man, this one's gotta be up there for me. Like it does still have like recency bias a little bit, because I just played it recently. It's still pretty fresh in my memory. But like this one, just like so many missions like stood out. There hasn't been a Call of Duty in like so long for me where like each one had like such a unique like twist, and like it was so different from each other most of the time. There's a couple that were the same, but like most of the time it was like super different from each other. And I don't remember another Call of Duty that's like ever done that, like where like every mission, it's like
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, they've had different gameplay things that they implement into different missions and whatnot, but not like to the extent that they've done it where this time, where it feels like each mission is its own unique take on a different formula or a different gameplay type or different things like that, like how they switch from open world to more stealth to more objective based to the zombies whole side of things. And that's what I really enjoyed, that whole section of it. But I mean, I definitely think that there are some missions that were a bit boring and weren't a bit as standout-ish, and that's okay. Like like level 8 and 9, it just kind of felt like a little bit filler. But
that was under the radar. Yeah, under the radar for sure.
But overall, I mean, as a complete package, I'd say this campaign was definitely a very solid pick. And I mean, it really helps tie in that complete package that BO6 is trying to be when it comes to the zombies multiplayer and the campaign. I mean, I think that they're really knocking it out of the park with that. So, I mean, I'm excited to see where they end up going with it with next year's Call of Duty, if they're doing that BO2 sequel or whatnot, or if they're going to continue down different timeline or something like that, and we'll have to see how it all shakes out. But overall, I mean, like, out of 10, how would you rank this campaign?
For now, I'll give it a solid A, like 9. I'll give it a 9 for sure.
I would give it
really
like
great campaign.
Yeah, I would give
8,
it like
maybe a low 8, high 9 probably.
Yeah, I would say that a solid 8 is definitely where it ranks on my board. Like, I don't think that the story engrosses me as much as like the OG Call of Duty, like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, but the story is still,
for sure. Like,
but it's still really solid, and the gameplay mechanics all hold up really well. So, and
dude.
So I guess that's kind of where we sit on it, and if things change throughout the lifespan of BO6, we'll keep you guys updated, and you guys will have to stay tuned and hit that subscribe and like button to see where we end up going with it. And